Welcome back to This is VANCOLOUR. Nothing quite blurs the line between reality and fiction quite like pro wrestling. And tonight's guest sweats, bleeds, and breathes in that space. From Ring of Honor to New Japan Pro Wrestling to WWE's NXT, now a star in All Elite Wrestling AEW, which hits Vancouver this Sunday, April 12th for its pay-per-view event Dynasty, the pride of North Delta, BC, Kyle O'Reilly.
What an introduction.
Kyle,
Thank you, Mo.
what an honor to have you
The
here
honor
in
is
person.
mine.
No, I'm so grateful. Now, we know that pro wrestling is basically live theater, but I think what makes pro wrestling a little different is it does kind of blur the lines between what's real and what's fiction.
Right.
So I want to hear from you, for perhaps people that are uninitiated.
Mm-hmm.
What's the most real thing about pro wrestling?
Well, I was recently stabbed in the forehead with a fork. So that's about as real as it gets.
That's a real fork?
Yeah, it's a real fork.
I've seen some of your moves. I mean, you're throwing like these MMA moves with elbows and kicks and some of these MMA submission holds. I know you're doing it safely, but those look pretty real.
That's the art. It's about suspending the disbelief, like trying to get anybody who's caught up watching a movie. You know, it's the same thing with wrestling. Like, people know going in that James Bond isn't necessarily kicking all these dudes' butts, right? But they let themselves get caught up in it, and so they can enjoy it. And wrestling's very much the same. We're just trying to simulate combat, but give the best show possible and make it as entertaining as possible. Because sometimes you might watch an MMA fight and it's over in 2 seconds and you miss the knockout and it's like, oh, it's a little bit of a letdown. But with pro wrestling, we have the ability to carry the audience on this roller coaster of a journey and to take them for a ride with us and for the benefit of the show as a whole, and just to give the best performance that we can possibly give and give the people their money's worth.
Having been to a AEW show myself, I would also say the emotion is real. Like, even in the crowd, you get caught up, like you do suspend disbelief, and that is very real. Is that the same emotion, or are you acting when you're in the ring?
No, it's very real emotion, because we are getting hit, we are landing, we are feeding off of the energy of the crowd. You can't help but, feel that emotion, and that translates through your body motion, body language, and through your facial expressions, and just, getting hit and landing. Like, it's hard to fake that. So it's definitely the business of emotions. It's a great way to capture it.
So people are in the crowd, they get the energy of the crowd, they see the spectacle, they see your persona.
Yeah.
What is it in terms of sacrifice, though? Like, if we're talking about what's real, what is it in terms of sacrifice that you made from being this kid from North Delta to becoming this global star?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't paint me in such a light global star. I can
You
never see
are.
myself that way, though. And it's funny you say it, because, like, I'm a very shy person, and so, like, anytime I'm in public and someone were to recognize me, it just makes me feel like I have imposter syndrome. Like, but it's,
despite the fact that you're performing in front of thousands, tens of thousands.
I can never look at it that way. I'm still that kid that loved wrestling growing up in North Delta, that had my first show at Bridgeview Hall in Surrey in front of 150 people. Like, to me, I still get that nervous. Like, it was my first show, every single performance.
So from there to, now I would say still a global stage, like, what did you kind of have to give up?
There's
to get
a lot
to
of
that
stuff.
point?
I mean, like, I had to, pack up my car full of everything that I owned. And this is a long time. This is, almost 20 years ago now, before social media. But I had to pack up in my car and to go where there was opportunities. And I really wanted to wrestle in Ring of Honor. I wanted to wrestle in Japan. I wanted that experience. And I never had any grandiose visions of making it to the top of the wrestling mountain and making money and having a successful career. That's a byproduct of chasing something that you love. Yeah. And so, the sacrifice was being gone from my family for years on end, and for, living on couches for years, and sleeping in my car, driving 19 plus hours by myself to get to shows. Just for that opportunity, for a handshake and just a chance to show my stuff. And, things have certainly changed, with social media, and people are a lot more accessible in terms of getting themselves out there. But for me, it's all about the journey, not the destination. Like, I really, truly believe that. Like, I read Mick Foley's autobiography when I was a kid, and something about reading about him, eating raw potatoes and sleeping in his car to make it to the next show, that it was just something romantic about it. And like, I wanted to experience that and to make that journey worthwhile. And it wouldn't be worthwhile unless it was full of all that sacrifice, because I made it there, and now I can look back on the journey and be like, yeah, proud of myself for hanging in there.
Was there any point where you're like, I don't know if I could do this, or in terms of what you were giving up, that, or did you always just love it so much that it didn't matter what you were, the grind didn't get to you?
It didn't. There was never any there was times where I was like, this is so hard. Like, what am I doing this for? But there was never any quit. Like, there was never any giving up in me until,
Yeah, and now you're here.
Yeah, I'm back in my hometown.
In the ring, you're very intense. Like even when you're just walking to the ring, that's a scary dude. I'm talking to you here now in person. You're very affable. Yeah. You're very approachable. That ring persona that you have, is there any reality to that you're tapping into something in your personality?
They say the best wrestling character is your normal personality just dialed up to 11.
Yeah.
But I don't think of myself personally as that, aggressive, angry dude who wants to, get in the ring and beat someone up. Not at all. So for me, that was just kind of like, what else do I have in terms of a character that is just different, So like I was just, I don't know, maybe I can look mean and just be intense. And
is that how you are in the gym and when you're lifting weights and working out? Do you get that intense?
No.
I'm
a very laid back, chill guy. Yeah, that's the beauty of wrestling. I'm tapping into a character, and as I've grown more comfortable, I've been able to come out of my shell and find a more of a goofy side to my character.
Sure. Yeah.
Being amongst like an Orange Cassidy or a Mark Briscoe and a Roderick Strong, like these guys, like I'm tapping into that, just a different sort of I don't know, a different character, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
Where I'm less aggro and more happy-go-lucky.
Well, that's certainly the guy that I know and have met.
Yeah.
For those that have never been to an AEW show, they're coming to Vancouver this Sunday. What can they expect? Give me the 30-second elevator pitch.
The absolute best wrestling product on the planet, bar none. This is a group of guys and girls that live and breathe wrestling and the performance of wrestling. And what you're going to get in an AEW show from the bottom of the card to the top of the card is just the best talent in the world giving the best wrestling product to a rabid fan base that even exists. Like, it's just, I can't even describe how amazing wrestling for this company is. It makes me feel alive when I go out there, and just watching the immense talent perform, even from the back, I'm like, oh my God, how do I go on after those guys? They just killed it.
I love that you're still a fan. Like, you're immersed in it, but you're still watching it in the same way.
Yeah.
We're now in the podcast exclusive part of my chat with AEW star Kyle O'Reilly.
Howdy.
Kyle, this has been a trip, man. It's so nice to meet you in person.
Yeah, pleasure's mine. Yeah, we chatted a few years ago now.
2022. I think it was the first season of This Is VANCOLOUR. Like, we were just kind of getting our legs. And,
so I was relatively new in AEW then.
Yes.
We chatted,
and it was over Zoom, obviously. Still awesome.
But was I injured then? Was that post?
You were.
I was. So
I always seem to catch you in the middle of an injury.
Cool. The two injuries I've ever had always seem to be around.
But you came back.
Yeah.
So that's a good omen,
exactly.
Right?
That's what it's all about. And it's funny in wrestling, you talk about sacrifice. Seems like the only time we ever get any time, because there's no off season in wrestling.
Yes.
It's year round, 365, unlike any other sport in existence.
Yeah.
So the only time we seem to get any time off is if we're hurt, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But the company's great about, anytime you need something for family or any sort of, there's no ifs, ands, or buts. If you need a request for
okay, that's cool.
Off,
that's really good to hear, because I'm sure it's very hard on your body and then obviously on your family and relationships and that sort of thing as well.
And, maybe any other companies might not be as forgiving as well.
Sure,
right?
Yeah. No, it's good to hear. I just want to circle back to this idea of what's real and what's not. Wrestling fans obviously know that, this is scripted, but I feel like there's two tracks to follow wrestling. There's the story that you see on the screen, and then the internet wrestling community also loves to follow the backstage booking decisions, and they, do a lot of speculation on that. Is that wrestling now, where there almost is two tracks in terms of a narrative, where you have what you see on screen and then what people are kind of talking about and following backstage? Or
it's a great observation. As someone who is looking at wrestling from the outside, I would certainly think you have a better thumb on the pulse for that than I would. Because for me, I just kind of look at it from the product that we're presenting, right? Because I'm performing. So I know what my job is. I know the story that I'm trying to get across. I'm not taking too much stock in what internet rumors, because I'm back there. I know what's a rumor and what's kind of, what's real. And a lot of the rumors, there's nothing really to them.
Yeah, no, that's fair. I guess just more as a casual fan, I used to follow it a lot, like Attitude Era, WWF, but I just see like all the YouTube online content isn't necessarily talking about, recaps or stories.
Right.
They're talking about like what's going to happen next, and they're trying to figure out where the booking minds are, right?
Right. That is a really cool way to look at it. Yeah. Like almost like armchair quarterbacking the shows, right? Like and seeing like, because it is wrestling. And the thing is, it's not like the season is filmed, and then we're just getting caught up things can change every week. So the powers that be may see the way an internet reaction might be, and oh, that's a good idea. Maybe let's, or they might see, you know,
you're going to give the internet wrestling community a lot of power here by saying that.
Or they might switch directions based off what people are seeing, or, you know, things change on a dime in this business. And that's just the nature of live television, you know? Like,
is there anything in wrestling today, and I'm not just talking about AEW, but just tropes or things that happen that make your eyes roll? Because obviously the internet wrestling community is very critical and of certain things, but is there anything that you see that you're like, oh, I just wish we stopped doing this?
Yeah, there's a lot of things. I don't want to throw anybody under the bus and stuff. But for me, the wrestling that I like is always very realistic wrestling.
Yeah.
And I stay within that realm of things that I'm good at. So for me, that is like, I'm a technical wrestler. I'm not doing flips off the ropes and things like that. I'm going to grab hold of you, ground you, use strikes and kicks to wear you down. And that's just kind of what I like about wrestling, realistic wrestling, something that really bleeds into that simulated combat.
Right.
But that's the beauty of wrestling and of AEW, because you're going to get that match, but then you're going to get the luchadors who are doing the crazy high flying things. You're going to get the hardcore match where the dudes are bleeding all over the place. You're going to get such a grab bag of just everything that is,
and those
so
comedic
beautiful.
acts in the middle, which are still fun. Yeah, they're awesome.
You get everything, and that's what this whole 3-ring circus should be, you know? So I can't really roll my eyes at a trope in wrestling, because that's what someone in the audience might absolutely love, you know?
Yeah, okay.
So and it's a subjective art form. So like, you can't really, I don't know, there's things that aren't my cup of tea that I wouldn't do in a match for myself.
Yeah.
But that isn't to say that it's not going to work magnificently for another person placed in the right situation, right?
Yeah.
So
you know what I could do without?
What's that?
Celebrities being the center of the stories. I don't mind celebrities being involved, and some of them are obviously fans themselves.
Yeah.
But I feel like there is this trope where you bring in a star or whatever, and you're trying to get a certain audience, or maybe you're trying to mainstream a big pay-per-view, and the celebrity takes over and kind of ruins the story.
Yeah,
almost,
I get that. It seems like a quick fix and just kind of something to try and get eyeballs on. There's a time and place for, you know, that integration with celebrities, but yeah, when it comes at the detriment of the talent that are there every week working their asses off to have this match, and then now you're suddenly going to insert, you know,
you're almost second fiddle to
that's unfortunate. But you know, we know what we got into when we became wrestlers, and we know that comes along with everything, right?
Totally.
So we're just we all love this, and we're all willing to do whatever it takes to put on the best show possible.
Is there a celebrity that you would like to see yourself in the ring with?
Oh, that's a good question.
Maybe an MMA guy?
Maybe George St. Pierre. I was a huge GSP fan.
Yeah. Have you ever met him?
No, I never had the pleasure.
Okay, me neither. I wish he's been in studio before, but I was not here. Find out a little more about that. Again, sort of talking about this, what's real. What's the status of your injury? You've obviously been out for a few months now.
Yeah.
When can fans expect to see you back? How's the recovery going?
Yeah. So my whole career, it's kind of been neck issues I've been dealing with. So I had another neck injury in November during this program that I had with Jon Moxley. So we had like a blood and guts match and a big singles match with Jon, and I was dealing with some neck stuff.
That lived up to blood and guts, by the way.
Oh yeah, you ain't kidding. It took a few days for me to recoup from that one. So I was dealing with that, so I needed a bit of time off. But in the back of my mind, I was like, I really want to be ready in time for the Vancouver pay-per-view, which is Dynasty coming up this weekend from Rogers Arena. So wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Maybe I'll be back in time for that.
There you go. I love that. Going to that Moxley match, you tapped him out. That was back in November. I mean, that's huge. That's a huge feather in your cap.
Absolutely.
And then you're injured,
I know.
right? You're obviously not new to injury, but just how do you process that on a competitor level or performance level, where you're like, oh man, I got this big win and now I'm out for a bit.
To follow up the two biggest wins of my career with an injury and being out for several months. There's never good timing for an injury, but especially then, that's very unfortunate. But that injuries come, that's the name of the game, right? And I know I'll get the opportunity to get back in there. And it's funny that it is with Jon Moxley, because that was my last match before getting injured the first time.
Oh, is that right?
Was against Jon Moxley.
Oh.
And then for me to come full circle and then to finally beat him again, 2 years later or whatever, and then to get hurt. So it's kind of, it's really kind of cool that Moxley's really brought out something in me and really given me a lot. And I'm forever grateful for the chance to work with him and really tap into a different side of me that Jon was able to pull out. And so now, I think the fans in the office And the talent look at me in a different light now because of that program with Jon. And so like, it was a big opportunity, and as a big, singles wrestler to get 2 big wins over a top guy like that, it's huge. Injury, it sucks, but
is there a mental thing though where you're like,
oh yeah,
there's you get down for a little bit, and then it's just on to recovery?
But it's also a good kind of reset and a good break. Like a few weeks there, don't let myself watch any wrestling, just check out and just get a real mental recharge and a physical recharge as well, and just rehab and keep that love,
what does that checkout look like if you're not watching wrestling? What are you doing instead? Aside from rehab, obviously.
I have a 4-year-old at home, so that takes up a lot of time. But I love playing my bass guitar and going on in nature and going on hikes and stuff like that. And
you ever jam out with Chris Jericho?
No, I've never had the pleasure. No.
We got to put that on the bucket list.
Yeah, that'd be amazing.
Speaking of Chris Jericho, and we kind of touched on this off mic here, the longevity of wrestlers these days is incredible. Like there's so many top stars that are deep into their 40s, 50s. They seem to be pretty healthy, which is a very nice contrast to a bygone era where wrestlers were not taking care of themselves. Right. They had a lot of issues, health issues, mental health issues. I'm thinking about even guys like Shawn Michaels, Bryan Danielson, Adam Copeland, people who were kind of written off in terms of injuries. And then they came back and had like career renaissances. How do you see your career in the next 10 to 15 years? Is that something that you're planning for in terms of stretching into, by the time you're 50? Or is this like, you're taking it day by day? What's your mindset?
To say. I think one of the most important things is that wrestlers, we look at ourselves as professional athletes now. You know, like it wasn't always like that in a bygone era. And so we put a lot more into our recovery, into our rehab. I work with a strength and conditioning coach now who does all my programming and all my rehab, and just taking that, like I don't have to think about that now. So like I can just think about my rehab and things like that. So I think that does add years to your career. It is a grind. The travel's hard. Being away from your family's hard. I'm a type 1 diabetic as well. So that puts a lot of, stress on my body as well.
Sure.
Lifelong diabetic on top of being a wrestler.
Yeah.
That said, like I would love to wrestle, into my 50s. I'll be 40 next year. So that's, I've been in the business since 2005, so 21 years this year, which blows my mind to even say. But yeah, I mean, it's an inspiration seeing guys like Edge or Copeland and Christian and Jericho, still going and still putting out amazing matches. Like that's awesome to see. And so and the thing about wrestling, like you're involved. Doesn't mean that I would always have to remain a wrestler. There's producing jobs, there's coaching jobs. You could open a school. There's I think in some way I'll always be involved in the business, whether it's as a wrestler or in another capacity.
Has that culture change, I should say, has that come from the top in terms of the big organizations prioritizing health and wellness? Or was it something that was more generational where wrestlers were like, we can't be like our,
the people before us? Thing.
Really? Okay.
I think so. Yeah. I think wrestler, the generation, my generation, the generation before me and after me, grew up loving wrestling and seeing how hard it was on a lot of these guys. A lot of guys not making it past their 40s.
Yeah.
Guys that we loved in our childhoods.
Yeah. And some of them, even if they did make it past that, they're just not in great health. Like you see them and you're like, oh man, that's not a good life.
That's wrestling in the 80s. It was a different lifestyle, a lot harder lifestyle, a lot of drug abuse, things like that. And so I think we're a lot smarter now. The only things that get abused in our locker rooms are energy drinks, So what's
the most number of energy drinks you've had in one day?
Oh, dude, you don't want to know.
Really?
No, I mean,
is that bad?
It's a long time ago. Like,
you're not advocating.
It would be like pre-workout with an energy drink, and then you're on coffee all day driving to the show. And it's just, But I've actually my caffeine intake's substantially lower now.
Okay, so that's good to know.
A cup of coffee, I'm good now.
You've worked in so many different promotions around the world. Mm-hmm. Is there something about AEW's culture that is different, or maybe that you had to adapt to?
It is, because it is such a new company, it has this real vibe to it that it's like we're all of us against the world kind of thing. Like we're all working so hard to make this company a special place to be, and you feel it backstage, you feel it at catering, and you feel it from the top down, because it is a family based company, and family is a huge part of it, and they really care so much about their talent, and not just the talent, everybody that makes the show go on, the production people, the cameramen, the pyrotechnics guys, the lighting guy. Like, there is so much that goes into making these shows. It blows your mind. Like, when you just go and you're backstage, and all this goes into making a 2-hour live television show, not to mention the wrestlers who are the ones who are celebrated, right? But there's so much that goes into it that, you know, it's unfortunate that after wrestling shows, there isn't a list of credits for everybody that, you know.
Yeah, no, fair enough.
Right?
I mean, and it's interesting because I think as an audience member, whether you're live in the crowd or you're watching from TV, you just have no idea. You're just seeing what's presented to you. But, you know, backstage, there's so much happening and so much that needs to be on cue for it to present the way it does, right?
But it is a special place to be. And somehow we just keep hitting it out of the park every show. It feels like every pay-per-view, AEW just gets hotter and hotter. And everybody's just like, this, how do these shows keep living up to the hype? But they somehow do, just because everyone really cares. Everyone wants to go out there and steal the show and just do the best job they can do, and it really translates.
Yeah. Shifting gears here, I want to ask you about your Mount Rushmore of Canadian wrestlers. I have a list here as well, but I want to get yours first.
Mount Rushmore Canadian wrestlers. Okay.
All time, obviously.
Definitely going to have Owen on there.
Okay.
And you got to have his big brother Bret, right?
Yeah.
Let's go John Tenta, Earthquake.
Oh, wow. Okay.
He's a Surrey boy.
Yeah, he is. Yeah. Good
so
good
got to have a
choice.
BC representative. And I'm trying to think of guys, you know, Mount Rushmore, like I try not to think of active wrestlers. Right?
Oh, okay.
Like the Mount Rushmore.
You don't want to write them off that their career's done. Yeah.
And well, Gene Kiniski, he was Canadian as well, right?
Okay. Yeah.
So you need your George Washington. You need your like OG out there, right?
Sure. Yeah.
So,
yeah. Okay. Interesting. So my list was, I had Bret Hart.
Yeah.
I feel like Roddy Piper's going to be on
the list. Let me make Roddy my
your fourth pick.
Yeah.
Just in terms of promos and that intensity.
You forget that he's Canadian sometimes.
You do, right? Because he had the kilt and you know, played up the Scottish ancestry. I did have an active wrestler. I had Chris Jericho.
Okay.
I mean, I think he's earned it just in terms of like how many iterations of Chris Jericho we've seen and the performances we've seen.
Yeah, he's done everything there is to do in his career.
Exactly. The last one I had a tough time with because and they are all sort of active. Two of them are active. Kenny Omega, I feel like should be in that conversation. Adam Copeland. I also think that Owen should be on there. I just feel like he, obviously a tragic end to his career, but like never got the proper booking that he deserved.
Yeah.
He had that great run and rivalry with Bret.
Yeah.
But we saw the acrobats. We saw just a range of wrestling that I don't even think Bret had in terms of mic work, heel work, acrobats.
Yeah.
But like you still watch it and you watch what he had put together. It's incredible.
Yeah.
Like
he might be the greatest that never had like a world title run. You know?
Yeah. Have you, just being Canadian and on the West Coast, any interaction with the Hart family or?
I met Bret once backstage. I don't know if you remember when the Cross Canada Aladdin musical was, and Bret played the genie.
He did? I did not know
recollection of this.
No.
Okay, so
he played the genie.
He played the genie.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, in like a stage production of Aladdin. It wasn't really a musical. It kind of was. It was Aladdin, and Bret was the genie. So I'd went there maybe in like grade 12, and it was somewhere in Vancouver, and waited backstage for him just to say hi. So I met him that time. And then another time, Ring of Honor brought him in for a show, and I met him backstage there.
Yeah.
So that was very brief. But I had a lot of interaction with the Heartbreak Kid, Shawn Michaels.
Oh, really?
I was down in NXT. He was like our main coach, and he ran the shows, and he was really hands-on with like everything we were doing, and had an amazing tutelage and experience with Shawn that, it was really amazing, especially as growing up as such a huge Bret guy and such an anti-Shawn guy.
Oh, okay. That was my next question.
Now that I'm an adult, it's totally flipped, because the first time I met Bret, I mean, I love Bret Hart, don't get me wrong. But the first time I met Bret after the Aladdin show, I was like, hey, Bret, like, man, I'm just such a big fan of you. You know, your match with Davey Boy 92 is one of my favorite matches of all time. And he just like looked off. He's like, yeah, I was the best. I was like, okay, it's true, it's fair. But not once did Shawn Michaels ever tout himself as being he was always just, a little more humble than Bret, in my opinion.
Interesting, which, you hear the stories from that era and it was probably the reverse, right?
And you know what? I didn't meet Shawn in 1996, which definitely would have been reversed. I met the Born Again guy in 2017, so I had a much different experience, but nothing but respect and love to both guys. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
On the topic of another great Canadian wrestler, Adam Copeland, you wrestled him here in 2022. I was there for that show. Yeah. It was so cool to see you there with, another guy that I kind of grew up watching. Yeah. The last time we had spoke, we fantasized about AEW coming to Vancouver. They're here. You got to wrestle Adam Copeland. Next time in Vancouver, maybe Dynasty. Who would be your dream opponent? Who would you want to wrestle here?
A guy I have had a match with, but it was like a kind of a brief match that I would like to have more with is obviously, the top guy in the company, Will Ospreay. I mean, he's one of the greatest wrestlers living right now. So I'd love to have another match with him, as well as Kyle Fletcher, maybe Battle of the Kyles one more time. For the rights to the name Kyle. How about?
What were they chanting? What was the crowd? They were chanting something about Kyle.
They did everything, but just using Kyle in one of the words instead. Holy Kyle.
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
We Kyle people. Yeah. It was silly.
What's it like wrestling at Rogers Arena in Vancouver? Is it different, or is it just kind of another show? How do you take that
it's definitely different, because that's where I saw my very first show in 1998. My dad brought me to a WWF pay-per-view there.
Rock Bottom. Yeah.
We were like the second to last row, and it was a profound experience on me. Everything about that day I remember vividly, and knowing, after that experience, that this is something I wanted to do, even at the age of 11. I was like, this is what I'm going to do. So to come back, 25 years after the fact and have my dad in the crowd to see me wrestle a guy that was on that show 25 years earlier. I mean, that's
so wild.
It's so wild. You can't write that. Like, you could put that in a book and be like, it doesn't really sound believable, but okay. But that's as full circle as it gets for me. It was a really proud moment.
Tell me about that moment right after the match is over. Like, you go backstage. What are you doing? Are you with family? What's the vibe? Like, how are you feeling after
you go back? You're, the boss is very happy with what he just saw. And there's Adam Copeland. He's very happy with everything that went. You're riding that adrenaline dump, and your vibe. The crowd was satisfied. Got my sister, my brother-in-law backstage, and my dad to say hi to my opponent and myself, and just it's extremely special. And those are the moments that you're really grateful for, that make you realize, like, this is why I got into it, for these moments.
We've actually had Adam Copeland on the show.
Cool.
Great guy. Kind of stuck around for a little bit. I was on Zoom, and he stuck around for a little bit to chat, and he had his daughter running around in the background. Just seemed very down to earth. And you never know with stars, right? You never know what they're going to be like, or if it's just get the business done with and let's get out of here. But
he is so humble and kind, and such a giving individual, and he's done so much for the wrestling business and continues to do so. He doesn't need to be in AEW wrestling, but he is.
He doesn't need to be wrestling.
He doesn't need to at all. And it's amazing that he is, and he's giving back, and he's putting out amazing performances. Totally. Same with his tag partner Christian. It's really cool.
Yeah, we did on the TV portion talk about this idea of persona. And I said, when I see you walking to the ring, when I see you performing, you're a scary dude. If I saw that intensity, that face, I'd be like, I'm just staying away from this guy, but you're so chill here. Who is the scariest person in the AEW locker room in terms of how they carry themselves?
Let's see. Scariest. This answer might throw you for a loop because it's a different kind of scary, but I'll say Darby Allin, just because he's so unpredictable. And it's scary because you don't know what he's going to do. You don't know what's going to happen when you see Darby go out there, right?
Okay.
So it's not scared of him. It's more scared for him. And he's going to do something just bananas.
Really?
Yeah.
Even backstage, that's the vibe.
I mean, when I'm watching matches and I know that dudes who do crazy backflips off the ropes to the floor.
Yeah.
When I see that happening, every single time I'm just I get so scared for them because they're my friends and they're my brothers and I love them.
Sure.
And this is a dangerous sport, man. And accidents can happen. So even when you're out there and you're watching, and even if I'm in the middle of the ring waiting for the guy to do a flip and land on me, I'm like, oh, please be safe. Please be safe.
You're worried about that guy not catching him. Yeah, wow. Yeah. That's crazy. Again, I don't know what the dynamic is like backstage, but just based on the mean mugging that I see on screen. Obviously, you have a great one, as I said.
Okay, Jon Moxley.
I was going to say Jon Moxley,
You're right. You're right. You're waiting for Jon Moxley to come out for a match. And yeah, it's intimidating.
Yeah.
He's coming through the crowd. He's got like the Shining theme song. Yeah. It's all scary. Yeah.
Is that right. What he's like backstage too? Like stoic and
he's not like that.
I don't know if I'll ever get to interview you again, but I'm very grateful for this.
I'm grateful too.
And I know that you're not at the end of your career. I think you'll have a much longer career as well. When it's all said and done, though, what do you want fans to say about Kyle O'Reilly?
That he was a good wrestler. You know, that's what it's all about. That, you know, and
so humble.
It's more about like what my opponents and the people that I worked with would say for me. I would like everybody to say at the end of the day, you know, if I looked at the run sheet and saw my name next to Kyle's and I knew it was going to be an easy night, we were going to have a good match, it was going to be safe, and we're both going to make it out of there in a better position than before. Like, that's just kind of what I pride myself on, you know, the performance and making other people, you know, because that's what we're in the business of, trying to outsell each other and outperform each other.
Yeah.
When you get someone in wrestling who's selfish and they're all thinking about themselves, it's not gonna translate well. When you got two guys that are trying to I'm gonna make you look better than me. No, I'm gonna make you look better than me. That's when magic happens, right? Like, yeah, you're trying to just make the other person. I think that's really the beauty of wrestling. It's, you know, it shouldn't be a selfish endeavor. It should for the benefit of the whole show and for the match itself.
Yeah. Is that something you do think about in terms of legacy, like what you want your legacy to be? Or again, are you just kind of doing it show by show? Or
yeah, it's a really kind of tough question. You know, I'm not of the mindset of like chasing accolades or titles and stuff like that. You know, at the end of the day, I just want to be known for, you know, being a hardworking guy that wasn't a jerk outside of the ring, and, you know, nothing controversial came out ever, you know, like I just want to be a normal person that happens to be in a wacky business.
You don't want a dark side of the ring episode. No. You could be one of those people that like gives commentary in one.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
Before I let you go, I just got to ask you one thing, Vancouver related.
Yeah.
In terms of your favorite spots in Metro Vancouver, so it doesn't have to be in the city itself. Where are you going to eat? Where are you going to hang out? What are your
The Drive.
Yeah, Commercial Drive.
Commercial Drive, yeah. I grew up in North Delta, but my grandparents were in East Van, so we were always on the Drive, and, you know, just all around the amazing restaurants there. And
any place in particular?
There is Lunch Lady.
Oh yeah,
you know, classic, right? Yeah. And then there's what's the Cuban, Havana?
Yes, yeah.
But they're still open, right?
Yeah, I think so, as far as I know.
Yeah. There's just so many amazing sushi spots. I mean, I love the city. You know, this is where my heart is, right?
Yeah.
And every time I'm here, there's just something magical about it. Just being in this rainforest and just hopping on the ferries and going to the coast, and just, it ticks all the boxes whenever you're here.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah.
Well, I know for certainly BC wrestling fans, they're very proud of you, and you know, I can't wait to see you back in the ring, man. I appreciate this. This has been a lot of fun.
Thanks.
You're a gem. Like I never know what to expect in studio, but you're awesome. So best of luck.
Appreciate it, man.
Yeah, thank you. Folks, that was one of the best wrestlers on the planet, representing BC on the global stage, Kyle O'Reilly. Catch AEW Dynasty this Sunday, April 12th at Rogers Arena or on pay-per-view. And just FYI, we're not a wrestling show, but if you're in British Columbia and you found our program, make sure you tune into This is VANCOLOUR Thursday nights at 9 p.m. on CHEK. Until next time, stay colorful. Peace.